Bună ziua și vă mulțumim că v-ați întors la seria noastră de interviuri, Interviurile Teatrul Azi în cadrul Festivalului Internațional Shakespeare Craiova. Revista Teatrul Azi este editată de Fundația Culturală Camil Petrescu și finanțată de Ministerul Culturii. So, I want to introduce my guests now, switching to English. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you, Alessandro, Cristian, and Emiliano.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about your show. Let me get the right title. Lina, Fina, and Gina.
Yes.
Or The Tragedy of Macbeth, produced by Teatro Barrio at Shakespeare Village. I saw your show yesterday.
Ah, nice.
So I'll just start with amazing. Loved it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would first like to get started with how did, let's say, Teatro Barrio came to be first. Let's start with that.
Basically, we are three friends before being three colleagues, and we three met in a company in Italy, and we used to work there. But every one of us took different kind of lives and works in art, and we are actually really different in our languages and in our research, and we try to assemble all the different things, the different stuff, the performance, the theater, the dance, and the singing for Emiliano, and to create something, to work together, to have the same vision in theater. And so we start to do something together and just to trying to create something and go on like this.
Yeah, you are also, you've directed
this
performance as well.
But I have to say that I'm not this was a group creation, really a group creation, because the first idea came to mind, but the work has been done together in theater, and we have just some tools and some ideas, and then create by improvising and all together with proposal and stuff like that. And so in group, really in democratic way, really.
That's what I wanted to ask, because the performance itself is quite complex. We've got, as far as I could analyze it, we've got chanting, ritualistic chanting, we've got choreography, we've got comedy, some moments of comedy, but you are doing a tragedy though, so I think it was such a well-balanced mix of everything, and I wanted to ask each of you if you could talk about your experience and what you brought into this, creating this performance.
What was interesting for us in this specific case was to find the right let's say the right point in which Shakespeare, Macbeth, meets our tradition as Italians, and in particular my tradition as Sicilian. He's as Apulian, he's from Veneto in the north of Italy, and so it was very important for us to understand how the tragedy, all the, let's say, tragic moments of the tragedy could talk with traditional stuff that is related to a very strong Catholic path for our origins. And even now the magic of the witches can be together with what is more related with the religious stuff and the ritual stuff, that it's always, let's say, a compromise between what is very Catholic and what instead it's even more ancient compared to our cultures. And then there is all the stuff related to, for example, we have a dance that it's Taranta, which is a very specific and typical Apulian ritual. And so little by little we try to understand how Shakespeare in his language could go inside our origins. So it was always a dialogue, let's say, between us.
I think I would just add as well that this as well comes along with the desire to create as well our own ritual. Is not just about quoting or like taking elements from the places we grew or where we come from, but as well how can we use these elements to generate in stage a ritual that is about food and that tries to somehow embody the tragedy of Macbeth with the ingredients and the act of eating. So of course it is a ritual, but I would say our attempt as well is like yes, to quote those rituals because they're really recognizable. So they speak a language that somehow it's like shared, at least between Italian audiences, but I think as well from other kind of audiences, but as well to make a real ritual during that moment, you know? Yeah,
because that's what I was thinking. It was like, oh, this enchantment's going on. I was like, I kind of really want to eat the food. Is it safe to eat the food?
Yeah.
No, but
It was delicious.
Okay, super.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much because you also have the performance tonight and tomorrow as well. So all I want to say is I think it was very important for the audience and me being part of the audience. I hope everybody felt it. And I do see this connection that you've been talking about, this ritual of preparing the food, because eating together is a pretty important habit here as well.
yeah, sure.
So it was like we were taking part in you preparing the food and you sharing it with us, and then at some point you have this monologue, and it starts out very kind. It's like, come, let's eat together, and then you start going to tragedy, and you start talking about everything going on. I was like, can I eat with these people at the same table? Because I'm part of everything going on, and I think that's a very, very important feeling that we had to share together. So I also kind of want to thank you for that in this manner. So now let's talk about the location of your performance, Shakespeare Village. And my first question is, how did Teatro Barrio get to know about the Shakespeare International Festival in Craiova? How did you, like, was there a submission? Did you apply? How did it go?
Basically, we receive a question to do a proposal from one of the executive producer, and then the executive producer of the Shakespeare Village asked to us to do the performance there, and for us it was perfect because it's so Shakespearean look like, and it's like a small globe theater situation. And so it's perfect because it's not so technological or contemporary languages, but it's more ancient and related to some old cultures, so it was perfect for us.
I would just like to add fun fact. I don't know if you've seen this, but you know, we do have some performers that are preparing traditional food, English food. They loved your food as well. Just wanted to add
in
that
the
in there.
audience, like
Very
back in the
integrated
audience
with
there,
the context. Nice.
Yeah, perfect.
Just loved your food as well. It was a touch of Italy within that 16th, 17th century England going on there.
Yes.
Let's say even like all people that were around were really how can I say for example our costumes, our way of entering the stage was really in contact with the environment. So it was for me it was very helpful because the context looked like a globe theater, old globe theater situation. So it was really the right stage in which to perform.
Yeah, it was.
And I was thinking, I wanted to ask you, because we have touched upon the complexity of the performance as in all of these elements that you're bringing together. So how are you working with the switches? It's like you're doing comedy one moment, and then the next it's this amazing ritualistic tragic chant, and I would really love to find out from each of you, like, what's the process of switching so quickly and perfectly between genres?
No, for us, I think it was important in the first days of creating the dualism of Shakespeare in general, but Macbeth even more, because one of the first lines is "the fair is full and the fool is fair," and everything in Macbeth is based on the comedy and the tragedy, the life and death, the right and unfair. And so for us, it was the tragedy is the blood, and of course the comedy comes up when the blood is tomato sauce, and it's so evident that you can eat it. And also, if for us is the most concrete element to eat, because your body have to physically digest this blood, and all the blood, that is the first element in Macbeth. So the blood becomes tomato, the tragedy becomes comedy, and it's everything is high and low in the works, I guess.
So you kind of find some kind of hooks into this kind of what you did out of the text, because you used tomatoes instead of blood, so you can switch between comedy and tragedy, because you have this like physical element that helps
of course,
switch.
and also because one of the figures that we analyzed is the prefica in Italian. I don't know the translation. That were these in South Italy, these old women that were paid for crying at funerals, and so they were there with the dead body, to crying and to have these really dramatic movements, extreme. Fake cry. They cry for fake and tell the story of the dead body, and it's gothic in kind of way. It makes you laugh also if it's about death, and the death for me it makes you laugh. A dead body it's funny in some way. So.
What about you, Cristian, Emiliano?
No, I think that as well, like this attempt somehow to be switching from a serious and a comic register is as well an attempt to approach the figure of the three witches that are really on a limit, on a border of their stance or their position towards the human tragedies are different from the ones of humans. And so for us, or at least for me, but I think for us as well, like these are really figures that are unpredictable in the way they relate to not only the story of Macbeth, but as well the story that then we as well talk about, so like assassinations, injustices, and this is the witches are really like a liminal figures, are liminal figures that do not share our values, and I think through this, then for a spectator is as well interesting to experience this shifting between, oh my God, am I laughing about it? But then, Jesus, I'm laughing about the dead body. How do I feel about it? You know? So yeah.
Yeah, and even with like creative process, it was very interesting because, as Alessandro said, we are very different. We have different backgrounds in theater world, and the fact of being so democratic, being so prioritize the listening of each other was really a tool for us, because if maybe during the creative process we are three, so we are the perfect number, let's say, like if there is in a certain moment someone who goes maybe too much in the tragedy stuff, there is some other who goes in the comedy, and then there is the person in the middle who can balance the stuff and make the transition. So as as a tool, for the creative process. It's very nice to really get the other goes to his idea, and then understand how his idea can dialogue with yours. So it's a good point for future projects, let's say.
Yes, that was. So we touched upon two other questions.
All right.
I wanted to ask you why the tragedy of Macbeth. So I'm guessing, so you've talked about the Magic Three, because we have these three entities, let's call them, that play around with people's destinies.
Yeah.
Did you look for a text that would have these three, let's say, entities that constitute a democratic group, like you've said, or did you think about using any other Shakespearean text and did it not work out, so you got back to Macbeth? What was the process of choosing this play, especially?
Al, I think it's yours.
No, it was Macbeth and just Macbeth. I think because for me, but I think also for you in the creative process, it obsessed me, and for me it's already not so understandable, and the more you go deep in the text and in the tragedy, the more you don't understand what is the point. There are many points: destiny, death, power,
Yes, but it's
darkness.
easy to get lost in
yeah,
them.
yeah, you can lost in, and it's the most brutal and violent tragedy of Shakespeare, and there are no heroes, just victims, at least, like babies, like Fleance, like the Macduff's sons, and this is this is a fact. This is there are no heroes. There's not a good part, and I think that no one has the will to do something. It's like you fall into this spiral of violence and blood, and also the blood is just a word of blood that drops blood, and I think it's
Or tomato sauce.
Or tomato sauce.
Yes.
But I think it's near to the 2026 world. It's a world of blood where it seems that no one knows what's happening, and everybody is
Yes, because at some point when you're doing one of the later rituals towards the end, you are talking about, and I remember those words in my head, I hope I'm saying them correctly, bombs and hope, and
Yes.
dance and death.
yes.
And I think, that's just, I got shivers when you said it. I was like, this is our world that we're living in. And, you know, the ever-spoken words of Hannah Arendt and the banality of evil. I was thinking, exactly like you said, I was like, why am I laughing at this? This is a tragedy, but it's done so well. And then I kind of got into the spiral, but it was a spiral of admiration. I was like, wow, like, look what this performance made me think about. So.
But maybe laughing is not so bad to do, but laughing is very important thing to do with pain, and for us, I guess, laugh of the pain and the blood, and eat it to digest it, because we don't know how to do it, how to deal with it.
Yeah, I think that's the key word, to digest it, because at some point, all three of your characters, we're not going to get too much into it because we don't want to spoil it, but all three of your characters have a hard time digesting. Very, very goosebumpy. So I would like to know, because you said that it was Macbeth from the beginning. It had to be Macbeth. But what about future productions? What will we see in the International Festival in Craiova, Shakespeare Festival, 2 years from now?
Maybe Macbeth. No, I don't know, but maybe we can wait to see times, because the creation is related to humankind. I mean, we cannot think about what's happening around us. So maybe we have to wait because the world is going very fast.
So I guess in a way, you not having to do Macbeth 2 years from now, that would be a good sign that you could change the play.
I don't know if the answer is let's hope.
Let's
I
hope.
don't know, because like doing Macbeth in this way, it was because it resonates with us so much. Even related, Alessandro speaks to the necessity of being conscious of the present, of the world that we are living right now, and even let's say what we are lost in, because like we wanted to really stay in this present, but the same way we wanted to do it by talking in languages that are not very speak right now in Italy, because like we have in Italy this stuff in which there is the Italian, there is the language in which we talk between each other, but all of us has his own, let's say, specific dialogue, specific dialect, in regional dialect, and they are not anymore speak a lot, and so for the future we have to see what's going around, and even if there will be the necessity of going against this speed, this world that is now in a very always more chaotic situation, if there will be the necessity to use again Macbeth, we will do it, maybe.
So if I don't get the chance to ask you this next time, because maybe you won't be doing Macbeth again, can I ask about the names, Lina, Pina, and Gina?
I think that they rhymes, first of all, and they are typical names of old women in South Italy.
Okay, and who's who?
Lina,
Pina,
Gina. Yes. The order.
And I also wanted to talk about, because you said costumes.
Yes.
Very universal costumes, as in this women that go to cry at burials, or have to do it more performatively, I guess. So, but you also have this little accessories that I really like, the handkerchiefs, right? That are
the white ones.
Yes, that are also a bit customized because you have different colors on them.
Yes, it's basically because the prefica, the figures that I was talking about, they have these white flags to do stuffs and to cry and to wash their how do you say
tears.
Their tears, and but we use them, but they are for cooking.
Yeah.
So they are not the sacred one, but the one for wash and clean up the kitchen. So.
Yeah, they're just like kitchen tissues.
Yeah.
We had as well the white ones, but then we saw that and it was like, but the kitchen. And so eventually we got it with the stripes, that it really reminds of like, you know, like you have your wet hands because you just wash dishes. Okay.
Yes.
So it gets back again to the double meaning of these three figures being also like some grandmas cooking something, but also these entities that play around with our destinies and get to choose what happens to us.
Yes.
And you also had, like we talked about the choreography, you said it's this traditional dance, but it was also this very amazing looking sequence when you are doing this, like, you're on the table, one of you is on the table, one is behind, one is in front.
The totem.
Some hand signs, amazing, looked amazing. And I wanted to ask you, who does the choreography? Like you said, it's a collective.
Yeah,
work. And also the chanting, because you had some amazing movement during the chanting. So how do you work on that?
Sorry, the chanting, you
The
mean
chanting
which
is
part?
in when you, even in the beginning, because that was also a very important key for us as an audience to
Yep.
know that, okay, it's beginning. There's this ritual,
Yep.
and you're doing these moves that I'm guessing are coming from the traditional dance.
I think that we did a writing exercise with the text, because we tried to write in verses, so in writing poems in metrical, like Shakespeare, but not
Obviously,
to,
yes,
obviously
without any doubt.
not to
The first
stay in the same no, but to have fun with our dialects, because I think for us it's easier to write in dialects than in Italian, because it's more musical, and it gets to the point. So we try to write in rhymes, and of course the rhymes and the ritual, the witches calls a chant. It's not possible to not chant, and so we just do this prayer, and that he repeats himself at the end, but no spoiler. And it's in rhyme, and we talked about the themes, but with our words.
Yeah.
And you're using the Italian, like the
Dialects.
Dialects.
Yeah.
And they are, we want to say they are totally different languages. Like in Italy, someone cannot understand what we are saying. So for us, it was because it's a magic word, a word that you cannot understand.
I mean, we came as well to hear with the perspective of people not understanding what we are saying. So that's why we as well choose to rely on musicality of the speech, and as well somehow to have a common ground between so different languages, like from our regions. How can we like make a common ground for these three things to like that are like so different with metrics and with the rhymes. So yeah, like there's a lot about how the word sounds rather than what the word means.
and also the rhythm it creates,
Of
I
course.
guess,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
doing the
Yes.
choreography.
Sure.
Yeah, the choreography came by also Taranta, and of course we are not doing that. We took something. There are knives battle, but danced in South Italy. It's a ritual thing. It's not for real. And so we took these elements, or also from the themes of Macbeth. So the end, dirty of blood, of Lady Macbeth, and the knives that he returns always in the tragedy to create something for the show ritual, not another ritual.
So yeah, I would just add that like I think all of these elements are really. There's not someone that is taking exclusively care of them. Like we would usually maybe like there's two people on the scene, and then the third goes out to check if things are working. Maybe they give suggestions and okay, let's try this, because we don't work like constantly with an outside eye, which is hardcore. But because of this, then I think in the end, like the three perspectives of us, like somehow find a space to exist, to coexist. Yeah. So like choreography, the rhythm, the word is all like really shared.
It's an amazing. To an outside eye, it looks amazing. Just to let you know. Congratulations on that again.
Thank you.
And now, for the end of our interview, I would like to just ask you if you want to give us a few thoughts about your experience in the International Shakespeare Festival here in Craiova, and to hopefully hear from you that you are going to be here in the next edition as well.
But hopefully, yes.
Yes.
Hopefully, yes.
Like when we understood that in Craiova there was a festival dedicated to this great poets, this great screenplay writes, it's something that maybe as actors, as people who love theater, it's always something of really fascinating. So like just being here, just how can I say, just breathe this atmosphere. It's something of magical. It seems like being in the Shakespeare world, and there is something that, let's say, romantically for an artist, it's very inspiring. But at the same time, I think that's yes, as we said before, you always have to watch at the same time what's outside the village of Shakespeare. I don't know if about that you want to say something more, to read something.
No, I think that it's really beautiful to stay here all together, like staff, the artists, the audience, to celebrate the Shakespeare plays and the Shakespeare themes that because he talked about the humankind, the bad and the good stuff, and we just want to say also the fact that we think that it's important to stay in this situation when we can create a community, stay together, see shows, do theater arts, and talk about humankind. But we think that as artists, but before as human beings, we have to decide in which part of the history we have to stay, and we just want to add that we were saying before, we live in a world where the violence is daily basis, when the tyrants are destroying the words and people and victims and kids and everywhere. We are all together here in good lives, and it's beautiful, and we have to do this stuff to make a resistance also with the stage, with the political decisions and with stuff like that. Everyone has different ways to do it, but we have to say that we have to stand against the brutality of tyrant and of what is happening around the world, and first of all in Palestine. And so we think that we have to stand against the genocide that is happening in Gaza and is not acceptable, and I think that we have to fight somehow, and I think that as human beings, also artists, people, kids, technicians, staff that is here, have to stay in the right part of the history, and the right part of the history, there's no other right part, is to stand against a genocide, because it's what it is. It's a genocide and it's not acceptable, I repeat. So we want also to add Free Palestine, because for us it's
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Thank you so much. And you really do have such an amazing performance, and I hope everybody will get to see it tonight and tomorrow as well, because it's an important work that you're doing in there, and I was so happy to see it. Thank you so much again, Alessandro, Cristian, and Emilian.
Thank you.
Și vă mulțumim și dumneavoastră că ați fost alături de noi și vreau să vă reamintesc că la ora 3 colegul meu Octavian Sala are ca invitată pe Maria Șepțova. Mulțumim!